just seen that a Brazilian tourist has fallen off Mount Rinjani at like 5 a.m. and honestly the news has like sent shivers down my spine.
Even if you know, people complain the tour guides all they want and they say, oh, but everywhere in Lombok and everywhere in Indonesia you see advertisements, you know, hike Rinjani, hike Rinjani, hike Rinjani. But it's your job to research things yourself, because most of the time if you do any high-risk activity anywhere in the world, especially in the Western world, if that's what we're talking about, Western standards, you're gonna have to sign something that says that they're not responsible for your life. You are. You're also not supposed to hike if you're not prepared to hike. That's just how hiking works. Accountability matters. It's extremely cloudy up there. If we're coming back to Rinjani, to cycle back to it one more time, it's extremely cloudy, very hard to send helicopters in. Nobody can go down that to retrieve somebody. If they send a rope down, there's no way for them to grip in because they're on sand. There's so many circumstances. So to repetitively disrespect the extremely skilled team that tried to rescue her is not necessary to honor her life.
And if you're watching this and think about doing Mount Rinjani, only if you're an experienced climber should you be doing it, really. Like, don't do what we did and think, how hard can it be? Just take the risks into account and yeah.
Kasus jatuhnya pendaki asal Brasil, Juliana, di Gunung Rinjani baru-baru ini menarik perhatian publik internasional. Banyak netizen asing, khususnya dari Brasil, melayangkan kritik terhadap tim SAR Indonesia karena dianggap lambat dalam proses evakuasi. Namun, seorang turis asing yang pernah mendaki Rinjani justru memberikan pembelaan. Ia menjelaskan bahwa Gunung Rinjani merupakan salah satu gunung berapi aktif tertinggi di Indonesia dengan medan yang berat dan ekstrim. Menurutnya, siapapun yang belum berpengalaman sebaiknya tidak mencoba mendaki tanpa persiapan matang. Ia juga membela tim SAR Indonesia yang bekerja keras mengevakuasi Juliana di medan sulit. Kritik dari luar, menurutnya, datang dari mereka yang belum memahami kondisi lapangan secara langsung. Seorang wisatawan asing membagikan kembali kisah perjalanannya mendaki Gunung Rinjani setahun yang lalu. Pengalamannya ini menjadi relevan setelah muncul kabar jatuhnya seorang turis asal Brasil saat mendaki di jalur yang sama. Ia merasa perlu memberikan perspektif pribadi sebagai seseorang yang pernah melewati jalur ekstrem tersebut.
Just seen that a Brazilian tourist has fallen off Mount Rinjani at like 5 a.m. and honestly the news has like sent shivers down my spine because me and Gaz did that hike. I think it was summer last year.
Mental, wasn't it? It was like next level dangerous. I swear there was like hundreds of people doing it and like we turned around because we didn't feel safe.
Yeah.
Loads of people were like, what are you doing? Just keep going. And it was like so windy on top of the ridge. It was
so cold. It was like the coldest. I felt like I couldn't think straight because I was so cold. Obviously the altitude, like no one even talks about altitude sickness with that hike. You're so high up, it's like 3,500 meters above sea level. Like the altitude, the cold, you've already hiked, what, 7 hours the day before and you get up at 1 a.m. to do the summit hike, which is another 4 hours up a steep incline in the dark. No one's thinking clearly.
I think if you're a professional climber, you'll probably listening to this and be like, oh yeah, that's normal. It is normal for professional climbers. But this was essentially just like a load of backpackers and tourists wearing trainers doing it.
Yeah, and I think like when we did it, we were like, why is there not more information out there saying like how hard it is? Because all you ever see online is just all these people summiting Mount Rinjani. So when we watched all of these videos on YouTube and we did our research, we were like, they look like us, we'll give it a go. And then obviously it puts your life at risk when you do stuff like that because you don't realise how dangerous it is. There should be more.
Goes to show though, when you're backpacking, if you don't feel comfortable doing something, just turn around and don't do it because yeah, the safety is not always there, is it?
No, it's just so scary. I feel like, I just really hope she's found safe and like thoughts with her family because when I saw that I just felt sick. I just knew exactly what it would be like to fall down. Just a horrible, horrible news story. And if you're watching this and think about doing Mount Rinjani, only if you're an experienced climber should you be doing it, really. Like, don't do what we did and think, how hard can it be? Just take the risks into account and yeah.
Dari pengalamannya, bule ini menegaskan bahwa Gunung Rinjani bukanlah jalur pendakian yang cocok untuk pemula atau wisatawan yang hanya sekadar coba-coba. Ia dan rekannya bahkan memutuskan untuk tidak melanjutkan pendakian karena merasa kondisi terlalu berbahaya. Cuaca dingin ekstrim, angin kencang, dan medan curam yang harus dilalui dalam kegelapan sebelum fajar. Ia mengkritisi minimnya informasi publik tentang resiko sesungguhnya mendaki Rinjani. Menurutnya, terlalu banyak konten di media sosial yang menggambarkan pendakian ini sebagai sesuatu yang mudah, padahal kenyataannya sangat menguras fisik dan mental. Ia juga menyoroti pentingnya kesadaran akan bahaya altitude sickness yang jarang dibicarakan. Seorang wisatawan asing mengingatkan siapapun yang ingin mendaki Gunung Rinjani untuk benar-benar mempertimbangkan kemampuan fisik dan pengalaman mereka. Jika tidak memiliki latar belakang mendaki gunung ekstrim, sebaiknya urungkan niat atau persiapkan diri jauh lebih serius. Karena baginya, keselamatan jauh lebih penting daripada sekadar pencapaian puncak. Seorang wisatawan asing yang telah menetap di Indonesia selama 6 tahun merasa tergugah untuk memberikan tanggapannya atas insiden tragis yang menimpa seorang pendaki asal Brasil, Juliana, yang terjatuh di Gunung Rinjani. Video ini merupakan refleksi dari pengalaman pribadinya serta keprihatinan terhadap banyaknya tudingan terhadap tim penyelamat Indonesia.
For days, my entire For You page has been about the tragedy that happened on Rinjani and the woman from Brazil, Juliana, who passed away because she fell into, I believe, the crater, or where all of the sand is on the top, all of the volcanic sand, and she wasn't able to be retrieved. And there's a lot of blame being put on the rescue team without considering the circumstances of Rinjani and the terrain and the difficulty of completing a rescue mission on an active volcano and how nearly impossible that can be. Combined with her clear lack of hiking skill, and this is by no means to disrespect her, it's really, really crucial as a tourist that if you choose to do a hike, even if people complain the tour guides all they want, and they say, oh, but everywhere in Lombok and everywhere in Indonesia, you see advertisements, hike Rinjani, hike Rinjani, hike Rinjani. But it's your job to research things yourself. You cannot rely on a guide company who's trying to make a living to tell you if you're fit to do something or not. They don't know you. They don't know your life experience. They don't know your skill level. Could they be asking more questions to better vet people to decide if they should be allowed to go up Rinjani? Sure. Absolutely. But you shouldn't hike an active volcano if you're not an experienced hiker. I've lived in Indo for 6 years. I've been invited by people to hike Rinjani many times. I won't do it because I'm not a hiker. I struggle going up to a small peak. I don't really enjoy hiking. It's not something I've tried to excel at and succeed with in my life. And when I saw how slippery it is towards the peak of Rinjani due to the sand, I know myself and I know how clumsy I am, and I know I would roll down that shit and you would never find me again. And that's just reality. So yes, there does need to be probably a regulation change in who is allowed to hike these places. But what happened to individual responsibility for our own choices and actions, and also recognizing risk? Because most of the time, if you do any high risk activity anywhere in the world, especially in the Western world, if that's what we're talking about, Western standards, you're gonna have to sign something that says that they're not responsible for your life. You are. You are responsible for your life. And people saying, well, she was left behind and this, that. If you're choosing to hike in a group, there's probably an option to get a private guide for a higher price point or to get a group guide, right? If you know that you are not an experienced hiker and you really want to go up Rinjani, then you should probably hire a private guide and not join a hiking group of people who probably have a pretty decent level of hiking experience and are able to complete the summit. If you hire a private guide and you need to take a rest, your guide can stand by you. But what is the guide supposed to do if they have, let's say, a group of 5 or 10 people and one person isn't feeling well? You either have to push through and stick with the group, or you get left behind. And I know they say you're not supposed to leave anybody behind on a hike, but you're also not supposed to hike if you're not prepared to hike. That's just how hiking works. I saw that her family was they were shocked that Rinjani wasn't closed down because of their daughter's passing. And while I have so much respect for their grief and what they're probably experiencing and the shock they're going through right now, That's unfair. To close an entire mountain down because of one person's irresponsibility. That's not fair. That's people's livelihood, and it's a beautiful place that a lot of people come to Indonesia just for that. And now maybe they've trained for it for a really long time. Maybe they spend a long time summiting smaller peaks to prepare for that hike. And now they're supposed to close it down because of one person's irresponsibility. And once again, I don't want to disrespect her in any way, but we need to use this opportunity to really take a moment to anywhere in the world and any activity that you're doing when you're on holiday, consider your skill level. I see it all the time with surfing. My partner has a surf school here in Bali, and he's very, very, very adamant that if people don't have a high skill level in swimming, or if they have fears around the ocean, they need to book a private lesson. Because people will want to be cheap and save $200K and book a group, and then they're miserable and they can't get back to the lineup and they're flapping around and freaking out. Is that the coach's fault? No, it's your fault for being cheap. Active volcanoes are not photo ops in general. There was an instance just a few months back, I think it was Agung. Somebody died on Agung because they tried to go up without a guide, probably trying to save money, and they died. And then Balinese people had to have so much ceremony, bring so much bantan, do so many offerings, because somebody irresponsibly died on their sacred mountain. Accountability matters. It's extremely cloudy up there. If we're coming back to Rinjani, to cycle back to it one more time, it's extremely cloudy, very hard to send helicopters in. Nobody can go down that to retrieve somebody. If they send a rope down, there's no way for them to grip in because they're on sand. There's so many circumstances. So to repetitively disrespect the extremely skilled team that tried to rescue her is not necessary to honor her life. We mustn't blame people who have trained their entire lives for this. Indonesian hikers don't play games. So for you to act like they don't have the skill set, and in this country they can do this, and in this country they can do that, then you don't know Indonesian hikers. They're extremely good at their craft, and they're very, 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 very skilled at mountaineering. I mean, Indonesian hikers will hike in flip-flops and live off of pot meat. And not to say that that's the way that you should hike, but I'm saying don't act like they don't know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
Berdasarkan pengalamannya dan pengetahuannya mengenai medan Gunung Rinjani, wisatawan ini menyatakan bahwa mendaki gunung aktif seperti Rinjani bukanlah aktivitas yang bisa dianggap enteng. Medannya berpasir, curam, dan licin, terutama di jalur puncak yang dilalui dini hari dalam cuaca dingin dan berkabut tebal. Ia menekankan bahwa banyak turis yang tergoda oleh promosi wisata tanpa membekali diri dengan pemahaman atau pengalaman mendaki yang cukup. Ia tidak menolak pandangan yang menyalahkan sepenuhnya pihak pemandu atau tim penyelamat. Menurutnya, tanggung jawab utama tetap berada pada masing-masing individu yang memilih untuk mendaki. Ia juga menyoroti pentingnya kesadaran akan bahaya altitude sickness yang jarang dibicarakan. Lebih lanjut, ia membela tim SAR Indonesia yang telah bekerja keras meski dalam kondisi ekstrim. Menurutnya, medan pasir dan cuaca di puncak membuat proses evakuasi sangat sulit, bahkan tidak memungkinkan untuk menggunakan helikopter. Ia menilai bahwa menyalahkan tim penyelamat bukanlah cara yang tepat untuk menghormati korban. Pada akhirnya, ia mengajak semua orang, khususnya wisatawan asing, untuk tidak memandang enteng pendakian gunung, serta memberikan penghormatan kepada para petugas penyelamat Indonesia yang telah mendedikasikan diri mereka untuk membantu, bahkan dalam situasi beresiko. Tragedi yang menimpa Juliana di Gunung Rinjani memang meninggalkan duka mendalam. Tidak hanya bagi keluarganya di Brazil, tetapi juga bagi masyarakat Indonesia dan para pendaki yang memahami betapa ganasnya medan alam di sana. Namun di balik kesedihan itu, kita juga harus membuka mata dan hati terhadap pentingnya kesadaran diri sebelum memutuskan untuk menaklukkan alam. Mari kita jadikan peristiwa ini sebagai pelajaran berharga, bahwa keselamatan dan persiapan adalah kunci, dan bahwa alam Indonesia, seindah apapun, harus diperlakukan dengan rasa hormat dan penuh perhitungan. Jangan sampai tragedi berulang karena kelalaian dan salah paham. Dan mari bersama kita hargai dedikasi para pahlawan sunyi di balik setiap proses penyelamatan. Mereka yang bekerja tanpa pamrih untuk menyelamatkan nyawa bahkan dalam situasi berisiko.